Welcome to our podcast. This is Friends on Fire.
I'm Mike. I'm a lifelong devotee of financial independence. I even wrote a book about it.
And I'm Maggie, a newer convert, but just as passionate, especially on the intersection of minimalism and financial independence.
We're one and the same.
We are two like-minded friends who believe that talking about money with your friends and family opens the door to financial well-being.
The Friends on Fire podcast is about dispelling myths, building financial acumen, and sharing your financial independence journey with the people you care about.
This is Friends on Fire.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Maggie.
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I am really excited to reflect on this year 2021 that we've just had.
Me too. I do enjoy our reflection episodes.
You know, I often am moving so fast at life and just don't have time for anything that I just don't take enough time to reflect on things. And it's one of the many things I want to be able to have more time to do in retirement. But I'm happy that we're doing it with this because I think it's, there's some fun memories to kind of look back on. And even just in prepping for this discussion, it's been a good exercise. And again, just kind of looking back on things and reflecting and, appreciating what I think went well, appreciating what I think we could do better at, and just reflecting on the year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So why don't we start with a listener comment we recently got?
Okay. I also enjoy these.
Yeah, go for it.
So this has nothing to do with 2021 reflections, just to be clear. We will pivot to that in a little bit, but it's fun to hear from listeners. And this one came in when you were having issues with your TV and you were posting about it on Instagram every single night. It was quite a saga, really. I hope it was entertaining to everyone else. Yeah, I was like logging in like every few minutes, but like, oh man, I wonder what happened now with her TV. I hope she fixed it. But anyway, we got the comment. Hey, wanted to tell you about greentoe.com. It's basically Priceline or Hotwire, but for electronics and appliances. Not sure why it hasn't caught on mainstream because it's been around for a few years. I just switched over to a new camera system that would retail for $10,000 new, but when I went in to name my price, they found a retailer to counteroffer. Bottom line, I saved $1,500 on a new USA warranty, legit gear sold from a camera store in Pennsylvania. Same as anywhere else. Also, we needed a new fridge. Best price anywhere was Home Depot, all in $2,500 delivered. I offered $1,800 on greentoe.com, got a couple counter offers, and we just got our new fridge delivered yesterday. All in price, including tax and shipping, under $2,100. Sold from a legit appliance store in New Jersey. That's pretty awesome. That's
super cool. I was not familiar with this, but I am definitely going to check it out too. Yeah, it seems like it's right up your alley too, Mike.
Yeah, I used to love when Priceline did the name your own price for rental cars, which I'm pretty sure like went away. I haven't been able to like find it or utilize it in a while, but I love naming my own rental car price. And I would there's like strategies to it where you have to like log in at different times and choose different types of cars, but this stuff's fun for me.
Yeah. So, and I love new innovations that companies create for us to, find new ways for retailers to, get what they're looking for and for consumers to get better deals. So good for everyone. Okay. So I thought it also, in the spirit of reflecting on 2021, I thought I would read a few recent reviews. So for those that are frequent listeners to our show, you will appreciate that we a few times have started the show out or ended the show with just really encouraging you all to consider leaving us a written review on Apple Podcasts, because that really is one of the things that just really helps our podcast and helps other people find it. And we greatly appreciate it. And it's something completely free that you can do to just kind of help us out and show your love for the show. So on that point, if you haven't left us a review, that's what we would love for Christmas and for our end of year 2021 present. Not that you owe us a present. A couple of reviews because we've gotten a number of new ones in the last couple months. It's titled Best Beginner Fire Podcast. As a geriatric millennial, which by the way, I love. Let's come back to that point. Because I think I'm definitely considered a geriatric millennial. So back to the review. As a geriatric millennial, I am new to the FIRE movement, and Mike and Maggie have kept it simple to understand. The dynamic between these two friends is perfect, each with their own great advice and personality. They are entertaining, keep me motivated, and have me feeling like I'm on track to be on fire. Well, that was awesome. And that's what we're trying to do. So that's really great to hear. Okay, personal finance is interesting, but after a while of listening to the popular podcasts out there, one can get tired of the same dull advice on budgeting, saving, and index funds. Quick aside, Mike, I like how they referred to the popular podcast as in That's Not Us.
Yeah.
But we'll keep going. Mike and Maggie present financial advice in a refreshing and fun way. They're particularly good at drawing from their personal experiences, which makes their advice relatable and entertaining. Maggie is hilarious. Shall I reread that? Maggie is hilarious and has a natural talent for conveying her feelings around money, especially with her quote context. Mike does a terrific job of explaining in a clear way subjects that are complex by breaking them down into digestible pieces. Favorite moments, Maggie trying to convince Mike that buying a Subaru with a moonroof is a smart financial move. Areas of opportunity, guest interviews. The good ones are okay. The bad ones are hard to listen to. You know what I love about that review, Mike? A number of things.
Actionable feedback.
Yes, actually, it was spot on for I think what both of our strengths are, and just very, very well stated. But also, yes, I love feedback. First off, it was a 5-star review, so thank you. But it gave us some actionable feedback, which I appreciate. And look, that's one of the reflections we can talk about here. We often are very busy and don't have as much time as we would like to prepare for certain interviews, to prepare ourselves or guests. And so, yeah, we wing a lot of things because we've got to make some, trade-offs and prioritizations in our lives. Okay, one more review. I'm not reading all of them. I'm just taking a sampling of them. Found this podcast through Prescription and Paychecks on Instagram. It's been great to add to my library of fire podcasts. Casual conversations that are often funny and relatable, but I regularly take away new knowledge or insight. I look forward to every episode. Love it. One more. I know I said that was the last one. New to the FIRE movement and frankly far from it, but love listening to Mike and Maggie talk about real life questions we all struggle with. Just listening inspires me to make smarter financial decisions and even take some risks that I would not have before. Financial confidence, is that a thing? I'm working on it, and this podcast is helping. Congrats, and keep them coming.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I love the term financial confidence. We should that might be a good show concept one day.
I worry that when we read reviews, people are like, oh, these two jokers are just patting themselves on the back, making themselves feel good.
I'm reading them to thank you guys, because we really appreciate someone taking time out of their day to leave us a review.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
I will start with one reflection here. We have a lot of people listening to this show. Like, it is still a surprise to me that like anybody listens to this show, because like you handle all the social media. I just kind of work on episodes and record with you. But every time somebody writes in, like takes the time to make a thoughtful comment or provide us feedback, it is a good reminder that this is, I think, important work that people appreciate. And it really does keep us going when things are a little bit challenging, because this is a lot of work for us to do.
Yeah, and it won't be a lot of work when we're retired, but it is a lot of work while we still have, pretty demanding jobs. So, Mike, this is our 129th episode.
Incredible.
Right? We have had, it's our 52nd episode of this year of 2021, our last episode of the year. We have not missed a week since we started in January 2020. And we even, for some weeks, in case someone's wondering how that math works, because this should be our 104th episode, when the COVID quarantine first hit and kind of the world stopped, we started doing 2 episodes a week because we just had so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But my point is we've done 52 episodes this year. So there's so much to reflect on. So let's start with, what are you most proud of, Mike?
I am proud of a few things. I think the first is this podcast. We hit 100,000 downloads, which was a goal that I had suggested we set.
Yeah.
You were a little doubtful of, but we hit it, and actually hit it comfortably. And now we've blown past it. And so that was kind of like, in my mind, we hit another level of listenership. And you can, nobody else sees our stats, but there's it was a step function increase that we are now at. Like, we are reaching a lot more people with this show. And so I'm very proud of that. I was also very proud of asking for and then getting the summer off from work. And that was a big step for me, but then also maximizing the time. We went to Colorado, we went to Maine. It was incredible. I mean, it was exactly what I was hoping for to get that flexibility in my life.
I remember when you were kind of to the point where you wanted to ask for it, and you were a little bit, I don't know, nervous is even the right word, but questioning if you should and how to and all this. And I remember saying to you, what do you have to lose? Mm-hmm. Right? No one's going to fire you over asking for that. The worst they're going to do is say no.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They said yes.
And then the other thing that I'm really proud of, and Maggie, I'm going to need to provide a lot of context for this story to make sense. I hope that's okay with you.
No, I always love some context. Go for it.
So I produce these videos for the Michigan lacrosse team every single year. I've been doing it for almost 20 years since I was a player on the team. It's, as I've discussed on the show, one of my biggest passions is film and photography and creating these stories. So I go up every year with some friends and produce this video. And the one I produced this spring, I rushed to get it done before they played Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament. The coach played it right before the game and they beat Ohio State, and they were big underdogs and they won that game. And the coach then FaceTimed me from practice to award me the Player of the Week award in front of the whole team.
That's so awesome. Because you didn't even play in the game, but you did because you were there in emotional spirit.
But it was so cool because I was pursuing my passion and it was making a difference in other people's lives and they were appreciating it. And it was like everything came together as this just perfect experience. And so definitely very proud of that.
That's really cool. I love that you have continued to do those too. It's like I can imagine, I never played sports at a collegiate level, but I did play at a high school level. And I can imagine just the feeling of having a way to stay connected to that team because you miss it when you quit playing sports and quit being a part of a team like that. So that's cool that you still have a way to stay connected.
So those are mine. Maggie, what are you most proud of?
I mean, like I said earlier, just with our consistency, we haven't missed a week since we started our podcast. So, you know, I am proud of our consistency and just the accountability. We've talked about it before. If we weren't doing this podcast together, I'm not sure I would feel confident that either one of us individually would be in this position 2 years later.
Definitely not.
I
don't think we would have
busy.
even started it if it weren't for the.
Well, I can tell you we wouldn't have because I started a blog over 2 years ago and have not stayed consistent with it because I don't have an accountability partner. And it's easy to just say, I'm busy. I'm going to have to let this go this week or whatever. So I'm just very proud of that. Again, this is not all about patting ourselves on the back, but I will pat ourselves on the back for that, Mike. I also, like you, am proud of getting to more flexibility with my job. So it's been a little over a year, but this has been, the bulk of it has all been in 2021 that I moved to 80% and basically have 1 day off a week. And I'm making it work, right? It took a little bit to get adjusted to because of some of my own work habits. So I'm really proud of that. I am proud that I continue in as best as I can with my other commitments in life to just stay healthy and fit. I'm mostly eating well. And the last thing that I'm proud of, as I really reflect on the progress that I've made this year in a number of things that we'll continue to talk about, but is, Mike, I'm proud of you because you have had a massive impact on my life, particularly my financial life, which also has a massive impact on my overall life in terms of just even the financial confidence term that, you know, someone introduced to us in a review that I read a minute ago. But you've had a really positive impact on my life, and I am very thankful for that.
Oh, thank you, Maggie.
Yeah, you're welcome. I really mean it. Okay. Let's not talk about how awesome you are for too long. Let's switch to what we have learned through the last year.
Oh, this is going to be a difficult segue because I'm also going to compliment you profusely on this.
Oh.
Should I start with that?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. We'll just ping pong the compliments this whole episode.
Yeah, people are going to be like, how do I take my review down?
We are going to start complimenting other people soon, FYI.
So what I learned this year, I really learned from you, Maggie, and it goes back to your comment about, you know, providing me some advice on asking for and getting the summer off. You know, seeing you do this and seeing your relationship with people at work and how you navigated this situation yourself really inspired and taught me how to do it. And so what I learned was that, like, when you do great work and you are well regarded in the company, when you ask for something and then you make an effort to meet people in the middle, like you understand where they are coming from when you are making a request for yourself, it will happen. Now, I guess that's a generalization. It is very likely to happen if you can go through those steps. And so, you know, I had always intended to take the summers off because that's what I did as a little kid, you know, with my parents. And so, like, this was always my plan. But the decision to do it this year and the way I did it was inspired by you and taught by you. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think we've talked about this a lot, but having your finances in good order makes having those discussions that much easier, because back to this financial confidence standpoint, right? You have the confidence to not be afraid to ask for things.
Yeah.
And yes, some of that is kind of intrinsically in you, but a lot of that is fueled by the fact that you know financially you're going to be okay if for some crazy reason that request goes sideways. And again, no one's going to fire you over asking for something. They actually cannot do that.
The other thing I learned has nothing to do with you or I. It has everything to do with the rest of the world. And it's that people are totally fed up with the status quo. Underpaid jobs, commuting, offices, the conventional career paths. Like, people don't like it, and they proved it this year. And that's been like eye-opening and fascinating for me. And, you know, people have always said that they love certain things about their jobs, or, you know, their 45-minute commute isn't that bad and they sort of enjoy it and all this other stuff. But when given the choice to not do those things or continue, everybody chooses not to. Like, nobody wants to commute anymore. Nobody wants to go back to the office anymore. And that has been so eye-opening for me and sort of refreshing, honestly.
Yeah, we've all gotten a taste of something else. We've gotten just a little bit of a seeing what life could be like if things are done differently. And that is addicting's not the word, fueling and, you know, makes people realize they can and should have something different in their lives, particularly their working lives. Okay. So what I have learned this year is the power of this community in particular. I continue to be, you know, just the personal finance community, the FIRE community, et cetera. Going to FinCon, it was great to in person meet a lot of like-minded people. And also just on the engagements I have on social media, just the power of this community. It's very inspiring and continues to kind of push me on my own personal journey and inspire me. On that note, I have also learned to be less afraid. I don't talk about it a lot on here, but I'm sure it's weaved into some of our episodes. But for someone who probably to many people around me doesn't seem like I have a lot of fear, I'm a pretty like optimistic person overall, but I do have, I mean, I've talked about like bag lady syndrome before, right? I have a lot of like financial fear that everything I've worked for could just poof, go away overnight. And so I sometimes make my decisions out of fear. I used to make investing decisions out of fear. It's why I kept money in cash, which was ridiculous. And like one of my biggest financial regret of my life is not investing when I was younger. And, you know, so I've just learned, I'm slowly learning to have less financial fear, particularly financial fear. You know, the other thing that I've been reminded of this year, very recently actually, is just that life's short, right? And a lot of the stuff you were talking about people being fed up with the status quo and just recognizing there's better ways to live and other things that are important in life. But I also had a friend's wife die recently, and I was just at the funeral, and I haven't been to a funeral in a long time, admittedly. And it was you know, watching, I'm going to cry talking about it, watching this person's daughter, who's almost the same age as my daughter, stand up at that funeral and pretty much cry throughout it. And just seeing her, it just reminded me, like, just the age of my kids, life is short, just that I want to spend time with them. I want to, there's just so much I still want to do, right? That I am excited for in the future. And I sometimes, you know, the good that comes from some very tragic events is just a recognition in other people that life is short, and that I do want to follow my dreams and follow my heart. And again, it sometimes can take me a while to get there, but it is what I want. Okay. We are going to shift
to some lighter topics.
Yes, to some lighter topics. We're going to shift to our favorite podcasts of the year. And, you know, look, it's hard to choose favorites. It's like choosing, you know, who's your favorite kid or something. But just some of our favorite memories and highlights of things that we remember and kind of we're reflecting upon. And then we'll switch to your favorite podcast based on number of listens.
You being the listeners.
You being the listeners. So I'll jump us off on this one, Mike. We'll just kind of run through some of our favorites. One was travel hacking with Julia from GeoBreeze Travel. And the reason that's one of my favorites is because you're a lot further along on that topic than me. And you and I have talked about that topic a little bit, but not that much. And so that discussion really inspired me to start travel hacking, because I was paying like full price for a lot of my travel. And I've gotten, a lot of the miles that I've gotten from travel hacking that I learned from Julia some, and then also from you is, I've gotten two tickets to Hawaii this year. We booked 5 tickets to Europe next summer. And I still have more miles that I've earned from travel hacking this year that I've not yet used. And so it can pay pretty quick. I also got a free ticket to go see my friend in Colorado from travel hacking, signing up for a credit card. So, I mean, it really can have some immediate impacts and benefits. And it really did inspire my own personal travel hacking. I also loved our Untamed episode, tying the Untamed book over to some money learnings because I'm obsessed with Glennon and Abby. And I like when you talk about your emotions, Mike. And that was a fun episode for me. I also, loved the why you don't need a financial planner episode, because that's just a topic that, as we've said, I'm like passionately angry about. Mm-hmm. And so I just, I was happy that we got that message out there. And it's one of my personal regrets when I talked about not investing earlier. It's because I always felt like I needed somebody's help and was kind of on this quest for it. And it turns out I didn't. I mean, I needed your help perhaps, but I could have read a book and learned what I needed to know, but I always thought I needed a financial planner. And then last 2, Leaving Corporate America with Rich and Regular, and then the career advice episode, just because those are so close to my real life personally, that I got a lot of value out of both of those episodes and just really enjoyed those discussions.
Yeah, those are good. I enjoyed those as well. When I was looking through this list, there weren't many that I was like, this was really boring. They're all like pretty good and interesting.
Yeah, it was hard to choose.
But there's certainly some that mean more to us than others. First one for me is going to be when we interviewed the original Friends on Fire, my dad and his friend Mark. Yeah, it was cool. Like, because I had heard all this stuff growing up, but to hear them both talk about it live, their experiences and raising their kids, me. It was just really fun episode. So we'll bring them back on. We want to do another episode with them. And then some more episodes that were important to me personally, how to stop caring what people think and start living. Like that's like a theme of my life and what I love talking to people about.
You're really good at that. It was one of my favorite episodes too.
Spending more time with your kids, a case for fire, again, very personal to us. It's the why we do all this stuff. Another one, how to blow $600,000 with the price of avocado toast. I just thought it was just a super fun conversation, really interesting story. I like them a lot. When I was just thinking of which episodes I enjoyed the most, that was one of them. And then our recent one, Outrageous Generosity with Joel O'Leary, not related to me, but I wish he was. He is always just so much fun to talk to. And I did really learn a lot about a different attitude towards giving from him. And then our last episode where I read poetry and you cried, Maggie. That was one of my favorite episodes. And I think it might have been my favorite moment on this podcast ever.
Yeah, it might have been one of mine actually. And it's funny, I recried when I was listening to it because Mike edits our episodes, but then I listen to them to double check his work and clean up the show notes. It's
quality control.
It's quality control, yeah. And anyways, I cried listening to myself cry.
All right, Maggie, let's go through our list of favorite listener episodes based on number of downloads.
And what's pretty interesting is 9 of our top 10 episodes are all from 2021. So I'm going to read through those 9. Mm-hmm. So you want me to just read the list, or do you want to go back? Okay, number 1, episode 112, How to Know If You're Fi. Number 2, episode number 106, Retiring at 30 with a Purple Life. Number 3, episode number 108, Mid-Year Expense Review with Our Spouses. That was way more popular than I thought it was going to be, by the way.
That was a surprise one.
Yeah, we are committing. We already have it on the show schedule. We're going to do a full expense review for the full year of 2021 because that was just a half year to see where we landed. So that people also get a sense of what it costs some other families to live for a full year and kind of where that money goes, which clearly people enjoy based on the numbers. Okay, number 4 is episode number 86, Leaving Corporate America and Changing the Way We Work with Rich and Regular. That was Kirsten and Julian from Rich and Regular. Number 5, episode 107, Why You Should Reject Dave Ramsey's Debt Snowball Method and What to Do Instead. That was a fun one.
It was fun.
Number 6, episode number 110, Automating Your Finances to Create Better Financial Habits. Number 7, episode number 96, Freedom is the Ultimate Financial Goal, Not Retirement. Number 8, episode number 113, 8 tips for financial wellness, recorded live. And then number 9, episode number 109, talking to your partner about money. I always find it fascinating to see which episodes are the most popular. Mm-hmm. Just, it gives us some good insight into planning for future episodes also. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So Maggie, you talked about the power of the personal finance community as being one of your biggest learnings. And we have what I think of as a real privilege to connect with people in this community who are like-minded and passionate and knowledgeable. And it's so much fun to talk to them. In case you haven't picked up on this, by the tone of our interviews, and I'm sorry, some of them are boring. We will work on that. But it is great to meet these people and learn from them. And so, we got the chance to do a bunch of these this year. And so let me just run through some of these. And again, we'll put these in the show notes so you can pick them up. Spoke to my dad and his friend, the original Friends on Fire. We spoke to Julia from GeoBreeze Travel, Kirsten and Julian from Rich and Regular, Jose Hernandez from the Millennial Money Mentor, Haley and Justin from The Price of Avocado Toast, 5 a.m. Joel / Joel O'Leary, Nicole and Nadia from the Wealth Twins. That was a real fun one. They were characters, by the way.
Yeah, they were some of the top people. I was bummed they ended up not being able to make it to FinCon. So I was sad that we haven't met them in person yet, but we will soon.
We spoke to Court from Modern Family, Financial Independence / Family, play on words. We spoke to A Purple Life, or P Life, as I like to call her. Spoke to your brother, Maggie, about NFTs and crypto. And most recently, Jesse Kramer from The Best Interest. What a privilege to get to meet and befriend these people. It was great.
Yeah. And, this is one area where, if you have feedback for us, you can always send us a message on Instagram or through our website. But, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That was about 11 interviews we did this year. And we kind of aim to do about once a month. So that works out well. Part of it is because, some of the feedback we've gotten from people is that I think you guys like interviews, but you don't want every show to be an interview. And then also it just takes more time for us to coordinate with someone else. And, it just is just a little bit more time intensive on everybody's end to coordinate those. Okay. So that was, I hope, some helpful, and kind of helpful is the wrong word, perhaps interesting if you are a frequent listener of the podcast, hopefully interesting to just kind of, reflect on the year and think through all the different people we've talked to and some of our favorite episodes and learnings and all that. I think we should shift to some predictions for 2022, which is, days away.
Let's do it.
So Mike, first prediction, which lots of people seem to be making lately. What's going to happen with the stock market in 2022?
I don't know.
That's right. Nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. I don't think it's going to be as huge of a success as 2021 was, but I really don't know.
Man, things surprise us, though. I think it's interesting how many people make predictions about what's going to happen and that there's going to be some big crash or whatever. And really have, there's some people actually do have an idea because this is what they do for a living. Most of the people that are making predictions often have no idea and no research in their founding their decision.
All right, Maggie, one of my predictions is that I think you are going to make some major life choices next year because I could see the pace and confidence at which you are making changes already.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, Mike. I think, we've talked about retiring. We just did an episode where, because we get this question from people so much in terms of just, why we're still working and when we'll retire and all of that. And so, I do think, not that it's about that necessarily, but I do think you see me on this journey where I'm slowly getting more financial confidence, thinking about my future, thinking about just how short life is and wanting more time with myself, my kids, my family, my mom, our parents are aging, et cetera. And so I think we may have some, big changes and stuff coming in 2022.
Cool.
It's a journey. So hopefully we'll have more news to share with you all in the coming months.
I think another prediction I have, which I'm reasonably confident about, unlike my stock market lack of prediction, is that I don't think companies are going to go back to work in person in any meaningful, organized way at all in 2022. I think everybody's like talking about it as though it's like imminent, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think that people can forget about 2 years of flexibility and go back to commuting and all of that bullshit associated with going into an office building every day.
I certainly don't think they can get back to it overnight, but don't you think there's going to be a slow build towards it? Like we went from 5 days in the office a week, and then we went to 0. And we're kind of back to like 1 to 2 for some people. I think it's going to keep building.
I don't think so. I think there is going to be so much pushback from people.
Yeah. From
personal experience, Maggie, how do you feel when you have to commute and go and get ready and go into the office 1 day a week? It's still a drain, right? It's a drain, and I am less productive, which is just, that's the piece that's most interesting, is it's not just about my own personal preference. I am less productive. Yeah.
So yes, there are times when I enjoy seeing people, and it's nice. And I think it's good for community and for, relationships and team building and all that. But that you don't need 5 days a week for that, right? You don't even need 1 day a week for that. You need a couple days a month for that, in my opinion. Yeah, no, I'm interested to see, not just at our company, but more broadly, how that returns. Because you got, this whole thing that everyone's calling the Great Resignation. There's a lot of people leaving for different opportunities. And so there's a lot of options out there. And you've got, I think it is going to be a bit of a, there's a war on talent. There always has been. It's a little bit different now because of the dynamics of what's happening in the economy. And so I do think that war on talent, that Great Resignation, all of that is going to put pressure on what companies maybe even think they want to do at the most senior levels versus what they're actually, able to successfully kind of implement and grow towards.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other predictions for 2022?
No, but I feel like you should end on a positive prediction. Something to take us out in style with.
Do you know what that is?
No. I'd like you to make it up right now.
I didn't know if you had any ideas for it. Yeah, I do think if you had to put me on the spot for a positive prediction, I do think we're going to get back to some level of normalcy in dealing with COVID. Like, COVID is not going away in 2022. There's Omicron. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
There's Omicron that is, there's different. I love the news that just came out that the third booster is like incredibly effective against it. There will probably be more strains and more, whatevers with COVID. But I do think even with that, we are slowly getting to a sense of being able to continue some quote normalcy with our lives in terms of, kids staying in school and, operations still running for everything. So I think that's a positive, right? I think the fact that we can get to that, I think that's a positive, Mike. I
think so too. And I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
I guess to close out this episode, we'd really like to thank everybody for listening. It's obviously it's fun for me and Maggie to do this, but the reason we keep going and the reason we put so much effort into it is that we get positive feedback from people. It makes a difference in people's lives. And we see in the numbers that we are growing in our reach of people who find value in listening to us. So we really want to extend our gratitude and our appreciation for everybody tuning into this show.
Yeah, I agree. I've got just a massive amount of gratitude, and I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who takes the time to listen and get something out of this. And we said, I just pulled it back up, Mike. When we started this show a little bit over 2 years ago, we said that our mission was to get friends to talk about money, and that we believed that talking about money is good for you and will lead to meaningful plans, thoughtful decisions, and a happier life. And I still believe that. And like I said, when I said that I was grateful for you, Mike, I am grateful for you. It's because we've been able to have these more meaningful discussions that my finances have improved, and that I've changed the way I think about money and the way I think about life, and just a lot of things related to that. And we really do believe that that is a benefit that everyone can get by increasing their conversations with their friends and family about money. So like Mike said, thank you so much to all of you. And we continue to just be incredibly grateful for this community and all of you listeners. So thank you. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
That's a wrap on 2021. Mike?
All right. On to 2022.
On to 2022. Bye.
Bye, Maggie.
Bye, Mike.